Welcome to Alpha Insights. I'm Kristen. Today we're unpacking a big weekend for cannabis policy and what it means for the market. I'm joined by Jessica, who focuses on policy-driven sector moves. Jessica, great to have you.
Thanks for having me, Kristen. Excited to dig in.
Quick note for listeners. If you have questions as we go, you can ask us at stockalpha.ai. All right, Jessica. Headlines over the holiday weekend felt more policy than earnings. So, the real question here is, what actually changed?
The short version is this. Federal-level moves showed progress, but they came with mixed messages. Rescheduling steps were framed as meaningful, especially for medical programs, but the administration also emphasized caution about broader use. That tension creates uncertainty about enforcement priorities.
Interesting.
Right, and to add context, rescheduling is not the same as removing cannabis from the Federal Controlled Substances Act. Rescheduling can reduce some legal friction for state medical programs, but it doesn't automatically fix banking problems, tax code issues, or the rules around interstate commerce.
Right.
Exactly. So the real takeaway is that rescheduling is a milestone, not the finish line. You should expect a period of incremental guidance and debate rather than a single sweeping change.
Congress and state lawmakers popped up in the coverage too. Virginia and hemp farmers were a focus. Can you walk us through that local angle?
Sure. In Virginia, a lawmaker pledged help to hemp farmers who are facing stricter federal rules around THC in hemp products. That story matters because it shows how federal policy shifts can immediately create operational and supply chain stress at the local level. Farmers and processors could face tighter testing, potential crop losses, and market disruption if enforcement or thresholds change suddenly.
Interesting.
And when you look at the data on past federal actions, constituent pressure often leads to relief programs or targeted fixes, which is why investors and operators watch committee calendars and bill text closely.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Now, for practical things to watch when markets are open. Regulatory follow-through is top of the list. You want to see agency rulemaking, guidance memos, or enforcement guidance that actually spells out how rescheduling affects banking and interstate commerce. After that, keep an eye on congressional action, bills aimed at hemp relief or clarifying conflicts, and state-level responses from agriculture offices and trade groups.
What about the market impact? Which names or funds usually lead sentiment when policy moves like this?
Typically, the big U.S.-focused cannabis ETF, the Advisor Shares Pure U.S. Cannabis ETF, and large operators like Trulieve, Green Thumb Industries, Curaleaf, and Tilray tend to reflect sentiment shifts quickly. Analysts watch those names for flows and repositioning. But remember, this is about sentiment indicators, not investment advice. Also watch upcoming earnings and company statements. A number of operators could tie the policy moves to capital plans or rollout timing, and that's often where you see concrete investor-relevant detail.
So how should listeners think about timing? Immediate headline reactions versus waiting for rule details.
Markets often wait for the rulemaking and agency releases. Headlines can move sentiment, but the larger, sustained moves usually come when agencies publish guidance or when companies disclose operational impacts. I mean, when you look at the data, that pattern repeats.
And consumer demand. The article mentioned new product launches around cultural moments like Pride and Mother's Day. Does that matter in the bigger picture?
Yes. Consumer-facing momentum helps the demand narrative. New product lines, retail promotions, and strong dispensary restock patterns support the idea that demand is steady. Honestly, I was a bit surprised by how much branding and seasonal activity stayed in motion despite the policy noise.
Before we wrap, can you give listeners 2 or 3 quick takeaways?
Sure. 1. Federal rescheduling is progress, but it's incremental, not a full legal rewrite. 2. Watch for regulatory follow-through from agencies and for congressional or state fixes, especially around hemp. 3. Track consumer signals and company updates for real operational impact, and always confirm changes through agency releases and official filings.
Great. Thanks, Jessica. And to listeners, if you have questions about anything we discussed today, you can ask us directly at stockalpha.ai. We answer listener questions live. And for more market insights, head over to stockalpha.ai. Thanks for tuning in to Alpha Insights.